Okay. First order on the agenda for today. I need a motion to elect Sean Chair of Sites and Facilities. Do I have a motion? Anybody who's on the thank you, Juanita.
Make a motion that we elect Sean Ratchford as chairperson for the Sites and Facilities Committee.
Thank you, Juanita. I have a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Are they?
Second by Sherry. She had the hand up. Sherry, you seconding?
Yes, second.
Thank you. Second by Sherry. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Any opposed? All right. Sean, I'm going to turn the meeting over to you. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much. Big shoes to fill, your old shoes. Mike has already put a lot of pressure on me in my phone call earlier. Good evening and welcome to everybody. I want to remind everybody that we are on camera. Thank you, Juanita, for wanting to take the notes. For the new members, I'm lucky enough to have been a teacher for 30 plus years, involved in the school for 40 plus years. There are people on this that you may not know. So if Rich, if you want to explain who you are, Mike, if you want to explain your role, Ken, if you want to explain your role to the new people so they understand who you are and why you're on this call.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Ashford, and congratulations on your appointment. And Ms. Britton, thank you for your leadership on this committee. And it was a great couple of years. And I'm confident it's still in good hands. So thank you. So for everybody, I know I've met everybody, at least briefly in the boardroom. My name is Michael Steelig, Chief Operating and Strategy Officer for Danbury Public Schools. As Louise and I were just joking, we've both been here about 4 years now. So I oversee a variety of departments. First and foremost is sites and facilities. I also oversee school security and a few other departments around communications, marketing, legislative affairs, parts of the strategic plan, and a few different things. So I have a pretty mixed bag. And then I'll throw it to Rich, who is our Director of Facilities.
Good evening, everyone. Rich Jalbert, Director of Sites and Facilities. I've been with Danbury Public Schools 14 years, and I have about 85 custodians, 4 maintenance people, 2 food truck drivers, 1 courier. We handle all the custodial work. Our maintenance department does general carpentry, door hardware, and I am the liaison with the city to deal with them with heating and electrical issues.
Thank you. And I'll just add, Rich is an absolutely fantastic facilities director and manager of his people. He has a big crew. He oversees all the custodians, like you said, as well as the courier, the maintenance folks, and a foreman. And I'm sure for those of you who've been on this committee, you know the scale of work that is before his department. And it's no small task. It can involve a 4 a.m. phone call because it snowed more than we were expecting it to, and we've got to get custodians in early to start shoveling and making sure that the buses and the parents can all get in the buildings. He'll be on these meetings with us late into the evening. And, again, there's no shortage of both planned projects that we have to execute as well as last minute things that just pop up. And he's always the first person that gets called when, the temperature is low in a classroom and, somebody's upset. So he's absolutely incredible at handling all of these things and, just making sure cooler heads always prevail because some of these issues do get tempers flaring sometimes. So I'll leave it there, but thank you, Rich. I really appreciate your work and your dedication to this role, and I'm confident we're going to have another great year ahead of us here as we start to look ahead in this budget season. So I'll jump into. I have a little presentation that I just kind of put the agenda on here, so that we can all kind of read off the same sheet of music. Oh, everybody see that? Okay. All right. So here's just a quick overview of the agenda. We've already completed item number 1. I want to go through some of the ongoing work and projects that we have happening right now in the district. And then as we've been assembling our budget for 26-27, just a quick high-level view of some of the maintenance and repair projects that we're planning on doing. Again, this is not capital projects. These are not, multi-million-dollar projects building, new buildings and annexes or anything like that. These are the projects that go into Rich's repair budget that are our responsibility in the facility sharing agreement. And then lastly, we have a little date change coming up on the next meeting. So I'll jump into number 2, and Rich and I are going to kind of ping pong this one back and forth because it's we both have sort of our hands in this and handle different aspects of it. So I'll just start. There was a little bit of water damage, DHS West in the BOE. We had a bit of a plumbing backup that leaked into one of our storage closets where we were keeping some IT equipment. We're still assessing the total cost of the damage. We're expecting it to be probably in the $8,000 to $10,000 range. But it will be covered through warranty costs by the, is it going to be the plumber, Rich? Do you know, is it the city of the plumber?
I'm not sure who's gonna pick up the cost, but the construction department did say that we would be reimbursed for it.
Okay. And that has happened already once before, just as we're working through some of the kinks of the building. And again, we were made whole on any damages that were done. So we feel pretty confident about that. The second item is playground snow and shoveling policy. We've had a few questions about this arise, and I know I've had a few texts and calls from members of the board regarding specific schools. Rich, do you want to talk about the most recent one? I think it was at Stadley Ruff where we had a concern about where the plow was pushing the snow and it was obstructing a walkway.
Well, yeah, so Stadley Ruff was a different issue. We have some sidewalks in the parking lot that got plowed by either public buildings or park and rec, and we didn't pick that up until after the fact. So I did speak to Park and Rec about plowing the other direction towards the grass, so we can keep those sidewalks open. A newer issue it's been the past 2 years. Public buildings used to plow playgrounds for us after 2 or 3 days once they got their priority snow removal done. And it's become a liability issue that they don't want to touch it anymore. From speaking to Tim Nolan, he said they don't even touch any of the public playgrounds in the city. Once they have snow on them, they're closed until the snow melts. I've also spoken to other facilities directors throughout the state that have echoed the same policy, that they don't touch them. So I know principals and teachers are trying to get their kids out there on a nice warm day, but we're sort of in a dilemma where we don't have the means to get these cleaned.
Yeah, I was also in another conversation as we've been replacing the old playgrounds that had wood chips with the new playgrounds that have that sort of soft kind of cork flooring. A plow or a shovel would completely destroy that ground too. So they don't want to do that because it would cause thousands of dollars worth of damage to those
I
playgrounds.
think these are the blacktop areas where they're looking at people getting the snow removed.
Okay. All right.
Can I ask a question about that, please?
Sure.
Okay, so in the document that you shared with us about the facilities sharing agreement between the city and Danbury Public Schools. Yeah.
Yes.
Number 17 says grounds maintenance for lawns, shrubs, fencing, playgrounds, etc. shall be by separate agreement with the Parks and Rec Department and the Board of Ed. Where's our agreement with them? Where's the board's agreement with the city on that?
With Parks and Rec, I would have to go look that one up. Mr. Rashford, I don't know if you're familiar with any specific agreement, but we could certainly go do some research and bring it back for the next meeting.
I
Well,
can speak to that, Mike. There is a very old agreement that gets into detail of what the Park and Rec Department does. You know, it's very intensive, involves pruning, overseeding, aerating, and it also mentioned something about the Board of Ed reimbursing Park and Rec for that. I can show that to you tomorrow, but from talking to Tim Nolan, that agreement has sort of been abandoned because we haven't given any money to the park department to do that. So I think it's another agreement that needs to be updated.
and Mike, that goes through Tim Nolan. It does not go through my department, recreation.
Okay,
I do not have people underneath me. So
Got
that
it.
would be a question for either Antonio, Tim, for that, because the agreement that Rich talked about is an old agreement. They did stop paying probably about 20 years ago. No one knows why, but there was agreement that the school system would pay for half of the park and rec staff as they maintain schools, as they do
Mhm.
things in and around the schools.
Okay.
So none of those things get done anymore by the city. Um, the grounds maintenance nothing gets done by the city anymore. Is that correct?
I would
at the
say
school?
they still do snow removal. They do mowing, weed whipping, spring cleanup. Um, you know, but that agreement 20 years ago, I think Tim Nolan wasn't there then, but the superintendent, he had probably 3 times the amount of staff that they do now. So there's just a lot of things that they physically
Yeah.
can't do. And a lot of their mowing, they really don't start doing until they get, mid-May, where they hire college kids to help.
Mhm. They do trim hedges and bushes and trees too. So
Okay, if we could have an update report on that at our next meeting, thank you.
okay. All right, the third item, end of year project. So as we kind of, I can't believe we're already talking about the home stretch of the budget year here, but we're almost in February, so leaves us about 4 or 5 months to finish projects using this year's funds. So this is just a little look ahead at some of the things we're planning on doing. As always, when you finally come down to the wire, you figure out you have a little bit of more money or less money than you thought. So some of these things may happen in part or in whole, or we may even add another thing or two to this list. We're still working on the BBAC conversion of our old offices for adult ed with the plan to have them completely in there by next year. The last update we had on that was revised drawings had come from the architect, and they are now being submitted for permitting. So that process is probably going to be about a month. So by the next time we meet, we should hopefully have another update about the permits and construction timeline. AIS, this was a conversation that we'd had in our last sites meeting about the conversion of a storage room. We've engaged with an engineering company who's going to come in and take a look at it and give us some options about just how to do this appropriately, safely, and make sure that there's natural light and windows and all the different things that we need to have a good learning space down there. So that's going to be starting in the next week or two. VoIP phone conversion, as we've been converting our old copper lines over to voice over IP, we're now entering the third phase that will be beginning with King Street Intermediate, and that'll be starting in the next couple weeks. Broadview Middle School, we're going to be hopefully, this is probably going to be a summer project, but they have some really old cabinets and flooring that needs to be replaced. We're going to see if we can squeeze some of this out of this year's money. If not, we'll be using some of next year's funds to address this. South Street, we want to paint the gym. It needs a new coat. Shelter Rock needs some blinds and window treatments, so we'll be focusing on those this year as we wind down. And ongoing is our search for more space for Reach and Endeavor. We had found a space, Rich, myself, Kelly Truchas, our realtor, and a few other folks had gone over there to look at the space. And I remember we reviewed some of the spaces in the last conversation that we had over on West Street. We weren't too excited about any of those spaces. None of them were really ideal, and we don't want another stopgap measure. So we'd actually looked at a space over by the airport that was pretty exciting for us. But as more has sort of become uncovered, it doesn't look like that's going to be a feasible space either. For a number of reasons. So we're continuing to talk with the realtors and look for new spaces. We're just limited, again, with our budget and all the different needs we have with respect to, having a safe, dedicated space, making sure there's room for the bus to come through. It is a sort of, pink unicorn of a space that we're looking for. So we're going to keep on with the realtors and hopefully something will come available, or we'll be able to adjust our price point and aim a little higher. So, lastly, DRIP funding. This is a government program. Rich, do you remember the acronym?
I don't remember what it exactly stands for, but it's designed, for repairs that, we're in the same boat as a lot of other school districts where there's a lot of old, cabinets, heating systems, everything that needs to be updated. So it's an effort to help school districts just get caught up on, deferred maintenance.
Yeah, actually have it on the next slide. I just remembered. Louisa, sorry, you have your hands up.
Yeah, quick question. Are we going to be able to see the plans for the conversion over at Beaver Brook to see what it's going to look like?
Sure. Yeah, we can do that.
Awesome. Thank you.
I have to be honest, with the limited budget we have, it's not going to be very exciting. So it's knocking out
No,
some
that's
interior
okay.
walls. Yeah.
That's okay. I just like to see like what the layout is going to be and kind of see where everybody,
Yeah.
how we're utilizing the space.
Yeah. The bones are really going to be the same. It's mostly the interior walls and some of those offices that we're knocking out. So 4 offices now become a classroom kind of thing. So
Nice.
pretty
Okay.
Do
simple.
we currently rent, Mike, from the Nolans, or do we own the place where Endeavor and reaches?
That is rented.
So we'll be saving some money
Yes.
from that.
Well, yeah, I mean, the new space is going to be rented too. So, we'll probably just be paying it to someone else.
Okay.
Okay. So that really is the end of this year. That goes right up until June 30th. That's when we have to have all of our money spent. And I'm pretty confident we'll be able to do all of these and hopefully maybe squeeze a few more little things out if we're efficient with our budgeting. Now, this is a look ahead. This is starting July 1 to the following June 30th. This is what we're hoping to do with next year's money. Sorry, Juanita, you had a question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
At our very last meeting, there was notes on ongoing and future projects. And one of them was at Hayestown Avenue School.
Mhm.
The elevator car, is that completed?
So they're waiting on some electronics. I just had a conversation about this. The car is there, everything is there, but there's something with that control board that wasn't working properly. So they had to wait for the new electrical component to come in. And last conversation I had, they said it was a couple weeks out. So everything is there, but it's still boarded up because that last piece has to be completed. So I'm really hopeful by the time we have our board meeting there in, is it April? I think it's April when we have our meeting there. Everything will be ready to go and we can take a ride.
They are actively working on it right now, Mike.
Okay.
Whatever external work that they can do and even internal without, disrupting classroom space. And Ellen Paolino, the principal, she's been doing a great job of coordinating with them, what they can or can't do.
Okay, also, we left off last year for an ongoing and future project was King Street Primary, the walls. Update,
Yes.
please.
Yeah. So I actually just had a conversation with the mayor's office about this one. They are still waiting on some additional funding. So the way that funding worked was it's a reimbursement. So it was about $7 million, and you apply for the construction grant. They say, yes, go ahead. Then you go do the work, and then you send in the receipt, and then they send you back 62 or 63%, whatever the reimbursement rate is on that. So as I understand it, we are working with the delegation to find the other portion of that full payment so that we can have the additional part of it funded. So out of a $7 million project, we're still looking for a couple $1,000,000 to make it happen. So I think there was some optimism that there was in this legislative session, there might be the opportunity to get it.
Okay, but we would be advocating strongly for that,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
The other thing on our ongoing future projects was, I believe it's Shelter Rock, the vestibule upgrade. Did that happen?
Yeah, Rich, do you have an update on that one?
We are starting work this Friday after school.
At South Street School, the pickup drop-off loop expansion, did that happen?
I think we were waiting to schedule that one. We did go out there. We had with the subcontractor. Rich, I don't believe it's been scheduled yet. I know there was some delays with BMP.
No, and talking to Antonio, the Public Works Director, he pointed out that we really need to get, approval through zoning and so we're following that process.
Okay. I know we were sort of on the edge of that one about whether we could just do it or whether we needed the approvals. So I had a feeling we were going to have to go through the traditional channels on that one. Sometimes you can just do it, but apparently not this time.
So the only thing, and I'll address it to our chair, Mr. Ratchford. When we have items that are on an agenda, they need to be on the agenda for the next meeting with updates. Otherwise, we don't know how things are going, what's been done, what has not been done, who's been met with. So that would be my recommendation to our chair. Thank you.
That's excellent. Yeah, I've been writing this down, Juanita, because I agree 1,000%. So thank you.
All right. So looking ahead, 26, 27 proposed projects. Again, this is the list of things that we're planning to do starting July 1 with next year's money once those funds become available. So we have a slight increase. Last year we were at about 1.3 million total. So we have a very mild increase of a couple percent to about 1.4 million this year. And that DRIP funding, it's the last line here at the bottom, district repair and improvement projects. So this is some separate state money that is going to be allocated to the districts around February or March. I've been in contact with some folks at the state about this one. So we think, we know we're going to get about $583,000. That work will probably take place a little bit at the end of this year and through the summer to focus on our cabinet and floor repairs at Pembroke. That school has some just really old cabinets. So we've been chipping away at this a little bit. We've done, I think, 2 rooms over the last few years, just as things have gotten too damaged to repair. But we want to do more of a comprehensive replacement in as many of the classrooms. I think we have 24, 25 classrooms that are going to get an update. And Rich, correct me if I'm wrong. This would include an abatement, so it has to be when when school is out of session. It's not something we can, chip away at over the weekend. It's going to have to be a full closure.
That's correct.
Okay. So that's, again, and that 583, that is not general fund money. That's not money in our budget anywhere. That is coming in from the state. So it's sort of it's a special project money that we're gonna use to focus specifically on that project. All right. So back to the top of this list. Rich, and these are round numbers because a lot of these, you'll see some of them are oddly specific. South Street, for example, this 33,340. That's actually a quote that we have sitting on our desk right now. But the rest of these are our estimates based on work that we've done around the district in the past, of a similar caliber. So I can just go down here. Pembroke, we want to do more blind, window, and shade replacements across that whole school. So once they have, you know, the new blinds, new window treatments, flooring, cabinet replacements, that building's really going to feel like it's really been refreshed, like almost a full renewal. It's going to feel very different when you walk in there. So we're really excited about that. Morris Street, there's been a learning space inside the classroom, sort of partitioned off with a sort of a portable wall. And for years, we've wanted to make that into a permanent learning space. They're not declining their enrollment over there, so I know they're going to need more space. So we're going to go ahead and make that an official learning space. We're actually going to build a wall, move some of the copier equipment around just to make it better, so that there's no, you know, because if you're in the one space now, you can hear people in the library, and they use that as sort of a, you know, community space too. So this will be really helpful for the kids at Morris. Rogers Park, there's a section of the locker room that we want to convert to a learning space to add to the special ed learning spaces over there. It's an area that really isn't used, and we feel like it would be much better used as a learning space for special ed. Danbury High School, we want to replace all the carpets in the main office. It's due for a little refresh. It's feeling a little dated, and they're pretty worn out in there. Rogers Park, we want to resurface the gym floor. Probably not a huge project, but you know, we've heard of some folks slipping. It doesn't seem to have the grip that it once did, and I think it would be good for safety issues as well as the general aesthetic of the gym. South Street, this is one I'm hoping we can actually squeeze in this year. It's a little one. It's only 33,000, but we want to replace all the door and lock cylinders at South Street. These are old ones. They're not the Azilocks. So we could replace all the doors and the cylinders and the doors. And we have a full quote for this one already. So we might try to push on this one if we have any money left over. West Side, everybody knows the backside of West Side has some modular portable classrooms. They really need to be upgraded a little bit. They're getting a little old, and we know there's some parts of the floor that have gotten a little soft, and there's been a few leaks in them too. So we've been sort of patching them together, but we want to do sort of more of an overhaul to extend the life of those, and potentially even add one or two depending on how much money we have available and kind of our enrollment projections for that school. As everybody knows, we had that COVID bubble that's been moving through the system, and it's in third grade right now. So it's going to hit middle school in 3 years, and I want to make sure that we are prepared to handle the additional kids when they arrive. I'm sorry, I'm not sure whose hand was that. Juanita, I don't know if that was still from
I'm sorry.
before.
I need
Okay.
to take- Yeah.
Okay. Louisa.
About these temporary spaces that we tend to make permanent.
Yeah.
What's the lifespan on these? How old are they? I just always have an issue with these pods because they're not permanent structures. I mean,
Yeah.
they are temporary structures, and we seem to always try to make them permanent. And so can you just give us an idea? And maybe we need this for the district, and I just suggest
Mhm.
this, like what schools have pods, how old are they?
Yeah.
Just to get an idea of what we're looking at here, because these are all going to need repairs, because they're like I said, you know, where are we at with all of them? And that's just a suggestion to the chair, but it's something that I think we should keep an eye out for.
I think we might do a pod update, Rich. I know South Street, West Side. Who else has pods, Rich?
Shelter Rock and West
Shelter
Side
Rock.
are about the same age. The difference is the pods at Shelter Rock were built on blacktop, where West Side, it was over a dirt surface, but they didn't install pylons and a vapor barrier underneath. But, you know, being on blacktop at Shelter Rock, they've held up a lot better.
That would be helpful if we had like a list and just kind of the ages and where we're at with them, just to
Yeah.
get us an idea.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. So yeah, 150,000 to do some repairs and upgrades on the modulars. Let's see, DHS, replace the flooring in Hatter's Cafe. That's going to involve a small abatement. So we've got $15,000 set aside for that. We're going to continue doing air quality testing for schools at about $150,000. We might be able to squeak in another one or two, depending on the cost. South Street, I'm going to paint the gym walls. Again, I think that's one we're hoping to be able to do this year. And we also want to do the gym floor at South Street. So 2 smaller jobs, but will make a big difference in that building. Broadview, we want to do, just like at Pembroke, more cabinet, countertop, and sink replacements. And there is an abatement that's involved in that too, to do some of the flooring. So we've got about 200,000 set aside for Broadview improvements. And at DHS, we've just gotten some pricing on bleacher replacements. Some of the bleachers no longer open and close. The motors are all burned out. So we want to be able to upgrade some of those in the main gym and in the auxiliary gym. So altogether, that's about 344,000. And lastly, we just have a contingency emergency line in here. There's always things that are unexpected. So we just like to have a little cushion just in case. And if God, if there's no emergencies, then we'll put it to good use and find a school that needs some paint or some new cabinets or wherever. And again, these are estimates based now on previous work that we've done, and just sort of our best estimates about what these would cost. These things can move a little bit depending on the cost of materials, labor, time of year, whether there's something hidden underneath that we don't know about that needs to be addressed. There's all types of things that can change the price. But altogether, it's planned for about 1.4 million. And again, the cabinets at Pembroke are all going to be part of that state DRIP funding, which is not, it's off budget. So that's another 583,000. So about about $2 million worth of repairs coming up in the buildings, specifically from Rich's department. All right.
Question. I have
Yeah.
a question. So a number of places on here, it looks as though it may require abatement.
Mhm.
Will that cause interruption in the educational process, the workings of the building? So we have Danbury High School replaced the flooring in the Hatter's Cafe.
Mhm.
So we know that that's, an area where job skill work is going on.
Mhm.
Is that going to shut the program down for a period of time?
No, and we've done abatements pretty much every summer for the last, I mean, certainly since I've been here. So we work closely with the principal. We give them, a sort of range of dates when it's going to happen. We make sure there's no one in the building, but it's almost always during a shutdown, which is why I think we've even done a few over the winter break, haven't we, Rich?
Yep, with the size of the Hatter's Cafe abatement, I would expect that shouldn't be more than a 2-week abatement. So we could work with the principal, to coordinate either at the beginning of the summer, or at the end of the summer, so they don't lose the whole summer. Because I know, athletics go on, year round, but we can work around that.
Yeah, in the
Okay.
last 2 years, we had abatements with the C wing renovations too. So we've pretty much got it down about how we do it and communicate it and make sure there's no one in the building.
Yeah, because they may be running like their summer school.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
And so I had another question. Oh, okay,
Mhm.
so looking at this proposed list, are you now going to take these and put these in priority order?
This probably won't need priority. It's more about scheduling. Again, this is based on an assumption that we're going to get 1.4 million from our budget. So yeah, I think we'd wait and see what the final budget number is, and then we would just make some decisions about trimming it accordingly. Um, yeah, we would just do it that way. So.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mike or Rich while we have them? All right, Mike, your last thing is the change of date from
Yeah.
March 17th. Go ahead. I don't want to steal your thunder.
All right. I'm just going back to my calendar here because I want to try to remember exactly what sparked this. Oh, that's correct. March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. We don't want to disrupt anyone's plans, so we decided to move to March 19th on the Thursday, so that everyone can attend. So Kara Pompana will be sending out a revised calendar invite for to switch those days from the 17th to the 19th. And that's it.
Thank you very much. As I said earlier, any more questions, any more miscellaneous things that we want to bring up while we have everybody here?
Can you share your presentation with us?
Sure.
Thanks.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, that's all I've got.
Okay.
Fantastic. I will call for a motion to close our meeting for today. Unless we want to sit here. Going once. Does anybody want to make a motion that we adjourn our
Ladies?
meeting?
I motion to close our meeting for this evening.
Amen.
Do I
Thank
have
you.
a second, Cindy? Just unmute. Lower right-hand corner. Lower left.
Second it.
Outstanding. Tonight's meeting has come to a conclusion.